hearing women telling me it's about the connection, the connection, the connection. And then I look at the guys they date, and they seem to have connections with 6'3" guys with tattoo sleeves, six-pack abs who drive nice cars. It seems to be like if you have those requirements, then there's a connection.
Dude. I have to do this. Okay, so this is how they explain why more men are not like in relationships and more women. Women will find one guy and would rather share that one alpha guy than to get with beta males that want to, the guys that you can't like get away from, or they're too creepy from you. Okay, young women are also dating and marrying slightly older men. Well, that doesn't account for the fact that they're like getting into relationships because they can only really technically only marry one guy, right? They're dating slightly older men, marrying slightly older men, carrying on a tradition that stretches back more than a century. The average age of first marriage today is around 30 for men and 28 for women, according to census figures. Heterosexual women are getting more choosy. This is where here's the question part here. Heterosexual women are getting more choosy. They don't want to marry down to form long-term relationships to a man with less education and earnings than herself. And then finally, the last part of this is, which is great. Women are tiring of their stereotypical role as full-time therapist for emotionally distant men. They want a partner who is emotionally open and empathetic, the opposite of the age-old masculine ideal. Maybe that explains Machine Gun Kelly.
Here we go. Ladies, we'll do this quickly. Raise your hand if you would be comfortable marrying. This is going to be a long-term partner with someone who makes less money than you. You'd be comfortable with it. Anybody would be comfortable.
I wouldn't have a problem with that.
You would? You guys would?
I'd be all right.
You'd be okay with it, guys?
I take care of myself.
Yeah? Okay. The one.
What about a significant degree, though? What about, like, not just 5% less, but half?
Oh, no.
Okay, so okay,
they make half as much.
He's on the up and up. He's a startup founder. He's not making any money.
No, realistically, I'd rather it be like the same or more.
What if he's hot?
See, now the answers are coming out. You notice that their answers changed.
Look,
well, you know, value added. Yes.
Value is value to a certain extent, as long as we are both making something within a reasonable amount. As long as we are both headed to a certain direction and we are both trying to do something.
Then it doesn't matter.
I think it doesn't really matter too much.
Well, how quickly do you find out, all five of you, how quickly do you know his income level? How quickly do you look for that, or how quickly do you generally find that number?
I know right now. I don't care.
Hold on.
I know right away.
Care to know.
Is that intuition? Or?
Missy said quick. Missy, expound.
Pretty quick.
Is this first date, or
show me your bank statement?
Definitely.
Do you look for his ATM receipts?
I'm an Aries. Okay, I'm a 0 or 100 person. I need to know. I want to know everything right away.
Now, is this bank statements? Is this W-2s?
No, I just want to know what you do for a living. Okay. And I need to know.
You guys laughed when I said women love opportunistic.
Yeah, of course.
You can be an accountant and work for one of the big five, but you could be really good at managing your money or really horrible at managing your money.
Yeah.
You could be spending all your money on cocaine and strippers.
It's true. No, she's not
That's what she's hoping.
I'm not going to complain, but I mean, eventually that money runs out. You know what I mean? But,
and after the cocaine wears off, you need a therapist. So you double that.
This is called monetize. This is called vertical integration. That's what we call this in economics. This is vertical integration.
All right, so let me
monetize two different ways.
Let me ask the ladies this. Okay, would you lower your standards if the guy was lacking in like money, muscles, or game? Let's just say, like in this case, we're talking about money right here. But what this article and what the reason why they're trying to explain all this away right now is they say, well, you know, men are just they're not emotionally available, as if that's like some sort of like value added to the relationship. If the guy makes a lot of money, but he's also kind of like very clingy and very like emotional and very like he wears his emotions on his sleeve, does that make him less attractive than his pocketbook?
Yes. I'm not your mom. Get off me. Like
so like researchers like this, the way they try to create solutions for this stuff is it's either men have to like man up again, right? It's basically the same man up narrative that we've heard for a long time. And we tell men to man down all the time. Now suddenly we want them to man up because if they don't, then women don't have enough guys to go around, right? So therefore, what do? They share the guy at the top, right? Which is exactly what we're finding here, but they just simply don't want to acknowledge that.
Come on, say it. Say it. It's on your mind.
So what I'm saying is there's two solutions. Either guys level up and they kick ass and they man up and they become more dominant. Or women have to lower their standards and say, you know what, I don't care about 100, 200,000 years of human evolution. Ladies, this is the supply, this is the pool, this is who you get to select from, and we're all going to be equal, and we're all going to be like on the same level now. So it shouldn't really matter whether the guy makes less than you. It shouldn't matter if he has a dad bod or he looks like a male model.
Women
it's
love
okay.
dad bods. What are you
have
talking
to.
about?
Oh,
That's
here we
true.
go. Okay,
Strongly disagree.
That is a
Strongly disagree. Strongly disagree.
Yeah.
I think men. I think you look at dad bods on people that you already find attractive for other reasons, and you find comfort in it. I do not think you're attracted to men because they are.
You like
pasty
dad
and
bods
fat.
because they can't get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't run his ass.
I agree with that. Yeah.
The bear will eat him.
We just don't care anymore. You have to like show us something else, and then we're not going to care about this.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say there's always exceptions to those things that you're talking about, like with emotions and stuff. If you really are emotionally invested in somebody and you really care about them, there's always going to be a point where you're honest and open with each other. That you're not going to be, it's not going to be a turnoff.
See, that's
At some
I will
point in the
totally
relationship,
second
like,
that
if
because-
it
Is that
starts
enough?
that
Is
way,
that enough
that's
for
the
you
problem.
to want to pair up with this guy for the long term? That's the thing.
Well, if it's right off the bat,
Yeah, that's
like, and they're like dumping, like trauma dumping on me, that's a big turn off. But if you get to a point in the relationship where you're already like with each other and stuff, and then you get to know each other better, and it's more of like, I understand you, I know you kind of thing, rather than like, oh, here's all my deal with it.
See, this is where a lot of guys sort of take me the wrong way because they go, "Oh, Roland just talked about hypergamy all the time." What I mean by this, when I said that women love opportunistically, I'm not saying women can't love. Like, you just have to go through the bullet point checklist of, does he meet this criteria right here? Then I'll emotionally invest in him, and then maybe you'll fall in love with the guy. But you don't get to that point unless you at least meet some of those criteria in whatever order she happens to have.
In your theory, how quickly do women generally emotionally invest?
Depends on how well
That's
that
a great
guy
question.
meet-
I don't
how
know.
How well does that guy meet the criteria of that?
Do you think like first date?
Could be.
Well, if you sleep together on the first date, do you think?
I think it is a function of maturity. As women become more mature, they wait longer to emotionally invest. I think that's what happens. I think in the beginning, it's this puppy love, and in the beginning, the first date.
There's a difference between
Yeah.
arousal and attraction.
Yeah.
And so many people I wrote about this in my second book. Okay, I would try to make the distinction between those two. It's alpha fucks and beta bucks. Okay, so it's the long-term security, the attraction. If you ask a woman, what do you look for in a guy? He's got to be funny, and he's got to love his mom, and he's got to like puppy dogs, and he's got to like want kids in the future. He's got to be educated.
He's a philanthropist.
He's gotta be this, he's a philanthropist. He
Multiple
cares about
six-figure
football. Yeah.
earner.
So it's all these things that sound real good for the long term. But if you say, what makes a guy hot?
I see.
Okay, so he's got to have, he's got to have guns. He's got to have six-pack abs. He's got to be at least 6 feet tall. He's got to, he's got to have the chiseled jawline. He has to have something that turns her on. That's the arousal factor that I'm saying. We need to
Big
make
dick.
that distinction because we do not do that enough. And I will, when I hear like even Dr. David Buss or Jordan Peterson or any of these guys, they never want to talk about the arousal side of women's dualistic, mating.
Oh, you'll
strategies.
get canceled
They
now if you start
only
talking about
want
that
to
stuff.
talk about the good feels in the long term. We don't need to form family.
I
So
keep-
okay, but if you're not hot, you don't form a family in the first place.
I keep hearing women telling me it's about the connection, the connection, the connection. And then I look at the guys they date, and they seem to have connections with 6'3" guys with tattoo sleeves, six-pack abs who drive nice cars. It seems to be like if you have those requirements, then there's a connection.
Dude.
It's just so crazy to me.
It's
like
so spiritual. Our energies are on the same level.
He's a
I will be the
Sagittarius.
first person to tell.
Any
Well, go ahead, hold on.
relationship
Go ahead.
Lie.
Go, Missy.
Listen, I'm a very sexual person. Okay, I know right off the bat I'm gonna sleep with somebody.
Really?
I
Yeah.
think most women do.
Okay, just like men.
Cute porn music.
I do have male tendencies. Like I look at the physical first. I do.
Everyone does.
And okay, people do say that I'm shallow for that, but I know I'm not crazy.
You're
Like
not.
yeah.
What is the thing?
You get that.
women-
You get that. But the researchers who do this for a fucking living
They don't get that. They will not
no.
admit what you just said.
because they're trying to like
No,
overanalyze.
No,
it, or
they're,
they just don't
they're
wanna say
trying
it?
no, because,
No, because they
these
gotta
are
be diplomatic.
these are academic institutions, and if you come up with a non-progressive belief system, then they won't publish your paper. Does that
Well,
make
of course
sense?
not, because it doesn't go along with the majority or
Yeah.
whatever they're
No,
trying
it doesn't
to do.
go-
You don't get
Yeah.
printed
Well,
in the hill.
The
either.
truth can be very ugly.
Yeah,
Right?
of
When
course.
it's just like, this is what girls want to fuck, and in 12 hours they want to fuck this guy, but not this guy.
Yeah, and that's tough.
And
for
sometimes
people
it's
to believe.
pretty fucking rude. You got to be pretty rude.
Yes.
To say like, no, these types of dudes will never get laid.
Yeah,
Some people don't want to hear
But
that.
also-
unfortunately,
but
that
also-
gets you canceled.
But it also
Yeah.
sucks though too, because I have been with a lot of like very very good looking men, and there's a lot of time there's no depth.
There's no connection.
Yeah.
Oh, we're coming full
Yeah.
circle. See, that didn't
No,
have the connection.
seriously.
But did you have sex with him?
I just said.